Good morning. Welcome to my podcast, Conversations Here and Now. Thank you for being here with me. It's Tuesday, June the 2nd. Half the year is almost gone, and time is flying by. So if you've been watching my podcast, you would see that I'm always talking about saving money, investing, amongst other things, right? So I'm always telling people to be very careful with their money, watch where you spend, etc., etc. But there is the other side of the coin that I've never talked about. So I put a few points down on it. And that other side of the coin is being extremely frugal, too frugal. Okay? So let's talk about this. It sounds counterintuitive, but excessive frugality can become expensive because it focuses on the price you pay today rather than the total cost over time. Okay? So let's look at some points with this. Point number one, buying cheap items repeatedly. The classic example for these is boots, shoes, appliances, tools, that kind of thing. Okay, it's things you use all the time, right? So for example, cheap boots, you buy for $50 and they last 1 year, and then you have to buy them again and then again. If you buy quality boots, shoes, they may cost you $150 to $200 and last 10 years, right? They will, if it's quality. So over 10 years, cheap boots, $50 a year is $500. Whereas one really good quality of boots, will cost you $200. So you see, it's already cost you $300 more. So the attempt to save money actually cost an extra $300. So being too frugal in that instance is actually a losing cause for money. Point number two, delaying maintenance. Now, this I've seen again and again as well. Many people try to save money by postponing vehicle maintenance, home repairs, dental care, medical checkups. Okay? For example, a $200 plumbing repair becomes a $5,000 water damage claim through your insurance. So, instead you keep putting it off, or you try a little fix here and there, it doesn't work. You got to bring the plumber in and fix it and spend a little bit more money. But you keep trying that, and then eventually things break down to the point where it costs you a lot more money. A small cavity becomes a root canal, right? If you're covered with your insurance plan, well, that's fine and well, but it's still a lot of pain to go through. But if you're not covered with an insurance plan, then it's going to cost you a lot more money, right? So regular dental checkups could have prevented that. Skipping oil changes shortens engine life, and I see that constantly. People say, well, instead of 7,500 kilometers or whatever your maintenance schedule is, I'll just do it go another 7,000 kilometers and then I'll change it. And you keep doing that, and that shortens the life of the engine, right? Small preventative expenses are often the cheapest money you will ever spend. Getting an oil change for $100 may prevent some big engine repair that could cost you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 down the road, right? Again, proper dental checkups will save you a lot of money and time, right? If there's any problems around the house, fixing it instantly, right away, could save you money instead of putting it off for later on. Next point that I want to look at is refusing to invest. There's a number of people who keep everything in cash because they dislike risk. Okay, imagine $100,000 in a savings account earning 2%, and that's generous today. A lot of, it's 1.5%, 1%. And with the inflation averaging between 3 and 4%, that purchasing power actually declines over time. You can see that earning 2% and inflation at 3%. So that purchasing power is declining. So historically, diversified investments have generally outpaced inflation over long periods, though they do involve risk and fluctuate. But over long term, if you have a certified financial planner. Now, again, I always tell people I'm not a certified financial planner. I talk everything with just experience that I've accumulated over 63 years of my life. So if you invest that $100,000 properly with a certified financial planner or through your bank and low cost index funds, ETFs, things like that, and they can help you with that, your returns will be far better than just leaving it in a savings account. All right? So by leaving it in the savings account, you're just losing money. So that's another way people lose money. Okay, that's point number 3. Point number 4, spending all your time to save pennies. Let's say you spend 3 hours, searching for coupons, 2 hours driving around town, 1 hour comparing prices. And then you, let's say, end up saving $15. So you've burnt a lot of gas driving around town looking for cheaper items, right? So if your time is worth more than a few dollars per hour, you may have lost value overall. So you lost, you burned gas driving around town. You have lost your time as well, 3 or 4 hours. Whereas if you went to one place or did your homework before you left, right? Then you know where to go. And today with the internet, it's very easy to do your homework and see where the best prices might be, rather than driving around town to save a few pennies. Okay. Point number 5: missing career opportunities. Being overly frugal, especially when you are young, can cause people to avoid training courses, certifications, professional memberships, networking events, because most of these things, let's face it, would cost a little bit of money. But that's money well invested in your career. It will come back, right? A $500 course that leads to a $5,000 raise is not really an expense. It's not an expense. It's an investment. It's a chance to get to know people. It's a chance to increase your knowledge, right? And that never fails. But frugal people, oh man, I'm not taking this course. It costs $400 or $500. I'm not paying for it. And if your company is not paying, a lot of times companies will pay for courses that are related, little bit somewhat related to work, but there might be some courses that might not pay for, and it might be good for you to take it, right? It could help you. So take a good look at the course. You think it will help you down the road with your work? Take it, okay? Because if it leads to a better job down the road and a promotion, a raise, then obviously you haven't lost money, but you also gain knowledge, right? You also gain knowledge, and that's priceless. Knowledge is priceless, okay? So that's missing career opportunities. Point number 6, poor health choices. Now, a lot of people will try to save money on healthy food. They'll buy garbage junk food. They don't exercise. If they have to spend a little bit, to get a membership with the city, which is a little bit cheaper than some of the places, private places, they won't even do that, or any kind of preventative health care. Okay, and this can lead to larger costs later. Health problems often will affect your medical expenses, productivity, independence, quality of life. So let's say, you start eating junk, you don't buy the best food that's good for your body. You only have one body. I always tell people you only have one body. You got to treat your body. So let's say when you turn 20, you get one car, right? And you're told that's the only car you will have for the rest of your life. So what are you going to do? You're going to treat that car like gold. You're going to do every oil change. You're going to do every maintenance. You're going to look after it, clean it, give it the best fuel, right? So that's how you have to treat your own body. You got to put the best food in it. You got to exercise. You got to do preventative health care. You got to make sure you're eating properly. You're exercising. You're sleeping properly 7, 8, 9 hours every night, right? Because all of that will prevent problems down the road, which can be like, medical expenses, which will cost a lot of money. Some may be covered by the province of Ontario, but some may not be covered, right? Your productivity, because if you're not showing up, you're sick and you're not able to make it to work, that can hurt, right? Your independence, because if it's a problem that you could have avoided before, now it causes problems, so your independence is affected, right? And of course, your quality of life. If you're in pain and not feeling well, obviously you're not going to be leading a good life. So you see where being frugal can lead to problems. Next point I want to look at, keeping unreliable equipment, an old car that constantly breaks down. I'm not talking about an old car that's working fine because you've looked after it really well, as I from the previous points. An old car that constantly breaks down may seem cheaper than replacing it. So, okay, but when you add repairs, towing, missed appointments, stress, the cheap option may become the expensive option. So, a lot of people will keep driving. Oh my God, we've all seen people who are driving like 15 or 20-year-old beaters, and they're like, I don't want to get rid of this. I don't have to pay for anything. Well, if your car is running really well because you're doing all the work and maintenance on it and it keeps running well, fine. Your mechanic says you can keep it, great. But if you know your car is constantly breaking down and it's causing you grief, headaches, towing, repairs, missed appointments, and tremendous amount of stress because it's costing you to fix this car all the time to make a decision rather than just being extremely frugal and just holding on to that car just because you don't have payments, right? So you got to look at the cost of everything. The cost isn't just financial. Okay, the cost can also be, as I just said, stress and your health, right? So next point that I want to look at is missing valuable experiences. Not every cost can be measured in dollars. Some people become so focused on savings that they miss time with family, travel opportunities, important life experiences. The financial cost may be zero, but the personal cost can be significant. There's a lot of people, oh, I'm not going on the holidays. It's just far too expensive. They can do it. They can travel. They're healthy, but they just don't want to spend the money, right? They just sit at home, right? So you're missing your time with your family in the sense you could be out on a holiday with them somewhere, right? Spend a few days, right? And that bonds you with your family, brings your family closer, right? And it gives you travel. You miss out on travel opportunities where you get to see the world. For us Canadians, if you can travel around Canada, or Europe, that these are opportunities you miss out on. Then, if you're able to travel, if your body is well enough that you're able to travel, then do it. Nobody's saying that you have to spend thousands on some upscale vacations, but you can still go on vacations and take flights and hotels if you really carefully choose and enjoy yourself. Okay, so this is really important. Again, you only live once, so you do have to gather experiences in your life. That time is not going to come back again and again. You're not going to be 20 again. You're not going to be 30 again. And before you know it, you're 60, and then it becomes harder to travel. I can personally vouch for that. So when you in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s even possibly, travel where you can and you can afford to, okay? And you don't go in debt. You save money for it, okay? So not to be too frugal there, right? Next point that I want to look at is false economy in daily life. For example, a poor mattress that hurts your sleep, cheap office equipment that reduces productivity, low quality kitchen tools that need to be replaced, low quality kitchen stuff, right? That's a big one. You can go to dollar store and save a lot of money on some items, but you may not be getting the best quality items. I'm not knocking dollar stores. Yes, they're great for some things, okay? And I'm going to address this in a future episode. They're great for some things, but they're not necessarily the best cost saving. So poor mattress is really important. You can buy a $300 mattress, or you can buy maybe a $2,000 you spend on a mattress, but then you'll keep that mattress for 10 to 15 years, and it will help your back. Okay, so a quality mattress will improve your quality of life. Um, Cheap office equipment, you buy chairs and stuff that break down on you, that don't work properly after a year, and you have to buy them again, right? There you go, money lost, right? And of course, not just kitchen tools, but all other tools as well. If you buy cheap tools, they break down on you, whether it's drills, screwdrivers, kitchen tools. Buy quality stuff that will last you 10 to 15 years, if not longer. And that's how you save some money. And the biggest trap, number 10, is hoarding instead of optimizing, okay? So many people think that if spending less is good, spending nothing must be better, right? I got all my money with me. I'm not spending a penny, right? You don't even go out for a coffee with your family, right? That's wrong. That is really wrong, right? But that's not how money works. People who think if spending less is good, spending nothing must be better. That's not how it works. The goal is not to spend the least amount possible. The goal is to get the highest value from every dollar, every penny. Okay? A useful principle, a way to look at it is, cheap people ask, what's the lowest price? Okay? And they don't care about the quality of the item. Frugal person asks, what's the best value? Okay? The second question is usually the one that builds wealth over the long run. Okay? So you got to sit down and look at how you can spend your money so you get the best value out of it. As I used my first example, shoes is the best example because you use them every day. You can buy cheap shoes, yes, $25, $30, $40, and they last you 7, 8 months, and then they're gone. Then you got to buy them again, and you do it again. Then you're spending money every year on buying shoes. If you buy quality, really good quality pair of shoes, they'll last you easily 10 years if you look after them. You've saved money right there, and that's how this whole game works. If you want to save money, then there are things and times in life that you have to spend a little bit more, but you save money in the long term. And again, the other points are your experiences in life count as well. Okay? Yes, you can save money by sitting at home and doing nothing, but you only have one life. Time is limited. Time is finite. It's not infinite. Okay? So you do have to build some experiences. Okay? So that's my topic today. I hope you like what I said. Please let me know in comments below, how you are able to, still, nobody says you can't be careful with your money. Again, nobody's saying don't be careful with your money, but get the best value for your money. So let me know how you do that. Okay? Please put it in the comments. And if you like what you heard, please hit that like button. It helps me with the algorithms. Doesn't cost you anything. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. Okay. Please turn on your notifications and share it with your friends. Share this video with your friends whom you think it would be of help. Thank you very much for spending some time with me. I'll see you again, same place, same time, same channel. Thank you. Have a good day.